Friday night footy. My goodness, did anyone just get that tune in the head as well? 30-26 for the Doggies. It was 26-0 before half time. Absolutely incredible scenes just on that scoring front to then, the Roosters to come back. Thankfully, the Bulldogs could, hold on to that one because that would have been a demoralising loss, especially with the injury toll for both of these teams. It's incredible. It's not great incredible, that's for sure. And I think the Dogs have like 5 or 6 players out of this game that potentially could be out for a few weeks. We'll have to wait and see. I think Kurt Mann played for a bit of time there with a broken finger. We had, Kickout off with, he's going to get scans on his leg. Hopefully it's not a fracture after he got kicked in the shin there. We also got Max King had a little bit of an issue as well, I think, with a finger. And then you had Blake Taff with his one, not good on his front. We had, who else do we have? Obviously, Sam Walker with his cat one. Yeah, cat one as well. Teddy with his cat one. We had a -12 in this game. Harrison Edwards with his, it turns out it's a neck issue more than anything. Most likely a bulging disc. So, ridiculous amount of things that went wrong. And then obviously, Sitili Tupanua with his 13 after he was 18 in 30 minutes. Yeah. So that's cool. Cool. -12. That's incredible. So he was on 0 before that. And Teddy was on 5 before he got... Actually, he would have got the missed tackle too. So 7, before his head knock. And I'd prayers up for everyone in this game that has any injuries. We'll have to start off with that because, it was disgusting. And I suppose that's, unfortunately, that's the product of wet weather footy and some of the things that can happen with slippings, with... Yeah, it's mainly just a footing thing, right? And then, slip and sliding. There's people sliding across these two games, especially in the Newcastle one, into the advertising. I was going to say padding, but we won't call it that, that's for sure. That was wrapping around the stadium. So let's get into the fantasy side of things now, and it's the Dogs 30/26. Burton had a banger. I think he was up at 91 or something before his update. 3 tries and a try assist in this one. Absolutely incredible. Good stuff for him. That left side was absolutely humming. I do have to question the Roosters defense on that side. The amount of times, it was definitely one of them where he was running up next to Connor Watson, who just completely left him for his outside men. And then he had Manu, who just decided to go and put his hand out, who got palmed away. And then he had Dom Young, who hardly even tried as well on that tackle. So that was very concerning for the Roosters. We also had Terrell May only playing 20 minutes, and there's some rumours around that he was late to the team bus, and that's why he got benched. Well, he's already benched, but benched properly and only played 20 minutes. So it's absolutely chaos coming from this game. That's for sure, unless you picked a couple of these top guys, and Burton was one of them. So he's back up to a 48 average. Just shows that he's a very up and down scorer at the moment. Then he had Luke Keary and Egan Butcher, our next 2 biggest scorers, which is crazy in itself. 72 for Luke. He was averaging under 40, now up to a 45.5. So good stuff, any owners of him, the 1.8% of the world. Egan Butcher with 2 tries. So I am glad that I not bringing in Crichton last minute, which was it was very sad across this game, not owning him, and thank goodness it slowed down because he was 56 with about 18 minutes to go, and ended up at 57. But Egan, I thought it the pass back on the inside a couple of times was to Angus and it was to Egan, so we'll take that in some solace. If you did grab Crichton, incredible work from you, and we'll all be grabbing him next week. Reid Marnie. How good's he going this year? Absolutely amazing. 64 for him, averaging 56 for the season, and only missed 3 tackles again, making 54. Dare I say it is a 2021 Eels, Reid Marnie, not 2022. That was a little bit down, and then 2023 was pretty... Or even 2020, maybe. Maybe it's 2020 for Reid when he was absolutely dominant, and then 2021 was a little bit down, 2022 down that little bit further before he came to the Dogs. So incredible work from him, 64. And is he a buy? That's wild. He's gonna be 700k after this, or close to it, just under. So amazing work. Manu, he'll play fullback next week. I'm actually really interested in how they score these games now. I do think there's a bit of a change because obviously the Grant one yesterday, that is a definite change from what we've seen over a lot of years. And then I think the tackle bus rule may have changed a little bit as well. So just an example with Harry Grant as well. So we had the positive side of, that try assist that we wanted. But I do think that how they were scoring missed tackles last year has been changed. So missed tackles and tackle breaks. So Grant, in the old rules, if you make the tackle but fall off as he's still sliding, or if you do like diving tackle around the legs, you clip him and get him to the ground and then kind of fall off as the other guys finish off the tackle. He's already tackled on the ground per se. That was getting classed as a missed tackle and a tackle bust on the other side. Grant had 2 of them the other night. I don't believe were given as missed tackles, right? So that was a little thought in my head. Okay, I've seen that the last few weeks. And then this week, I do believe Manu had a few extra tackle breaks. Let me know your thoughts, because I think he had 3 or 4 runs in a row where he went palm, palm, palm. And that would be, at least the 8 that he got in that game. And there's obviously plenty other times he had tackle breaks in this game. Just thinking Supercoach had him at 10, so maybe it's a couple of those that they're not giving. And they had Hutcho up at 8 missed tackles instead of the 6, I believe they ended up with him on. Where is he? Hutcho, 6. So potentially those ones where like the tackler isn't even making an attempt, right? And they're just there, hands up or whatever, and the player comes and just palms them off. It looks like they're not giving that as a clear tackle break like he used to. If you used to just put a hand on a player like Fafita and these types of guys would do, palm as they crab walk sideways, then there would be tackle break after tackle break. There's also the Moses Sully situation. So we'll get to him in the next game, but actually just go into it now while we're here, just to discuss it as a whole. But Moses Sully was up at 28 overnight, and in his first run of the game, he went tackle break, 3 of them. And I thought at least one was clear, and maybe that's the only one they've given him. But they didn't give him the others. They end up taking them away in updates. So I would be very interested to understand what the ruling is on that now, because that changes things a bit as well with the types of players that you're selecting in certain games. Obviously, missed tackle guys, and for tackle break numbers, it's definitely something to think about, because Sully, you went bang, bang, bang. If anyone remembers that first run from him, and again, it might be happening to other players, but I'm just focusing on the guys that I am watching that are somewhat fantasy relevant, right? So Sully in my head-to-head team, fantasy, that's relevant to me, right? So that's what I just wanted to note on that. I think that's changed a little bit. And if that's the way they're scoring now, I'm very happy about that, because it doesn't deserve a missed tackle or a tackle break on that front. Because if if they're not even engaging to tackle you and you just go bop and run sideways, it seems like a silly way to get points, right? So overall, I think that's a good change, but it'd be nice to find out actually on that one. But Manu, 58, he's an incredible player, isn't he? Just did good things there. Line break try, 8 tackle breaks, offloads, kick defusals, good run meters. He'll go back to fullback next week. There will be a few people more interested in him now. I think he had a 13, didn't he, in that round 2 clash. So he's averaging 50 outside of that, which is very, very impressive. 50 with that in his average, I should say. He'll be interesting going forward. Maxi King, 57 for him, 60 minutes. So good to see him get his mins up. And he's averaging 51 for the season now. So if you started with him and you were able to hold on through the lower minute games, then that was great. Bill Kickout, as we said, he absolutely crushed it. 2 line breaks, 6 tackle breaks, a try assist as well. Our first half was incredibly dominant. Crichton, he looked somewhat back to some of his best. He was running with pace. They were defending him pretty well for the most part. Obviously, got that pass back on the inside to Joey Manu for the try assist, which they used with Tupanura a few weeks ago. But he's a guy that he looks back to some of his best. And listening to Trent Robinson in the pre-game as well, it sounded like he'd earned his way back in. I was like, do I just do it this week? Do I wait? It kind of, my deciding factor with not grabbing him this week, because I want to grab him next week. Well, I did. Hopefully, got a 40 odd. And just grab him next week. That was the plan. But it ruined my loops, because getting another edge guy, I had Pikura in the starting side as a looping situation. And therefore would have kind of stuffed around with that. And if Salmon did really well, which he was on track to do great, I would have missed out on him. I had Hughes in 5, Salmon in 6, so I could double loop, which was cool. And Crichton in would have cooked that a bit, that's for sure. And I think I was going to go Burbo to Crichton. So, that hurts a little bit. But 57, it could have been 70. So I'm definitely not as sad about that. And thankful for anyone who is out there and did grab him. You picked up a good score, and he'll stay about the same price, and he'll be a buy next week. Very clearly, in my opinion, I think the Satilli will be dropped. Should be. His efforts on that right hand side defensively for them were horrendous, and I don't think that he'll be in this side next week. That's my thoughts, especially after a loss too. A few heads will roll, I think, and Satilli's one of them when Nat Butcher comes back. And I think Crichton's a high chance of playing 80 minutes. And even if he's not 60 minutes straight, he didn't score really any points in the last 20. So you see there with most guys, that first half is where you want to get your points if you're an effort type of player. Nafahu White, 50, I was incredible as well. With a try for him, good stuff, averaging 30. Will go up a little bit in price now. Tupou was good. Curran got some nice updates actually, the other way. So 3 missed tackles, a error, and a couple of inside 10s. No tackle breaks, no offloads for Curran this week, and still gets 48 in 66 minutes. So with all of the injuries, if Kurt Mann's, it looks like he's out for a month, if Phil Gould was correct. So check out his tweet as well. It's probably floating around there in the ether, but Curran surely means it's time for him to go lock or full-time edge. They went for Salmon on the edge, so maybe they'll stick with that. Which, again, Jamin Salmon's been changed 4 out of 5 games, I believe, due to injury, out to a different position. So, pretty crazy how that's worked. I think there was 2 games that he hasn't. One of them he went edge, and changed to edge for 10 minutes on each and played 50 minutes. And the other one, he just played the 41 through the middle. So there you go. Husey, how good? 47 in 44 minutes. He looked pretty good. He missed a couple of tackles, but they weren't really anything of worry for like him keeping his spot in the side. They were more just coming out of the line and trying to, with a bit of line speed and trying to hit. But a nice try, 5 tackle breaks and 118 meters. Good stuff for Husey. He makes some money. Hopefully you were able to play him. And if you sold him, that is what sucks. If you weren't able to play him, he's in like low emergencies. Still get cash gains, which is what we want. Radley finally got a rest. 72 minutes in this one. Watson 37. Yeah, that effort down the sideline was a bit poor. But outside of that, he was solid. Just congrats to the Dogs here. Crazy. Kurt Mann, 37. He played 65 minutes in the end. 7 missed tackles, a bit high for him. But that's where he's at. Hopefully he's okay. If you brought him in, you've got at least a few good scores out of him. Brandon Smith, 34. 5 missed tackles, a bit back to somewhat normal for Brandon. Those first few games were pretty wild with the base stats. But that 34, I think you're holding steady. It's in the wet. It's a bit of a shock. He did play the 80 minutes though, so there will be games where he doesn't. And you would have hoped in an 80-minute game he would be able to get the 40s, but wasn't to be in this one. No clear attacking stats apart from that one run with the tackle breaks. Jamin Salmon, I'm really happy with his efforts there. 31 tackles for no misses. It's super impressive. With 54 run meters, no tackle breaks, no offloads. Just the one error in contact. So that wasn't fun. I think Hutcho had one as well, didn't he? No, it wasn't Hutcho. KVP I'm talking about. So Salmon 34, hold on steady. Karaz, look, it got solid for a bit there. Got into the 20s with a couple of offloads in that one there. So he had 3 offloads, 2 to hand, 1 to ground. He had a turnover tackle. He ran the footy a bit. So it's good to see that he can get those offloads away and the like, but they're not going right, man. They're just not going right. So Karaz, I think he's pretty close to one of my trade outs next week. And then the question is, do I get Ponga, or do I make that trade this week and get Gutho? And Ponga probably seems most logical, which I should have done this week, but alas, we continue. But Karaz, I think he's on the chopping block for me, and maybe for you guys as well. I got 4 dogs, so got to make some decisions around that over the next few weeks. Hutcho 31, nice update. 6 missed tackles, 24 makes, decent amount of kicking, too short of another point, but an offload, tackle break. Seems to, I don't know. I'm still trying to work out what to think of Hutcho for this dog side. Don't know if Sexton helped all that much either. Obviously, he came on and played, given they had some foul play. But that's Hutcho 31. Work him out over the next few weeks. Suoli'i 30, Hargraves 29, Taft 28 in 27 minutes. He was flying. Got that try early on It was just like, that was easy. Try saver as well with that turnover tackle. That was incredible. Chase down tackle for Dom Young on the sideline. I'm not sure if he got the try saver for that. He may have. Probably did. I can't remember another one on the line, but yeah, incredible work. Got out of in-goal, escaped from in-goal as well. Bronson Sherry, good to see him out there playing in jersey 19. He was, took a couple of decent runs at the start there. Connor Tracy, 24. Apparently he's in a bit of strife as well. He was the other one that I forgot. 24 and 80, so hopefully they can get Addo Carr back and Blake Wilson, and thankfully they've got some outside back depth, that's for sure. And Crichton went back to fullback position as well, but he got 12, so yuck. He's going to be so cheap soon. Terrell, 23 and 20. Like, PPM was killing it, just didn't get a second stint, so yeah, tough times for owners, and captained him in the head-to-head team, so head-to-head team is in the bin, considering I did change my I ended up playing with 17 instead of trading Satilli, so get a couple extra points, but I was trading him to Curran. I didn't end up doing that. I'm going Hosking to Tohu Harris in the end, so that'll be fun, but yeah, shocker with that one. Lindsay Collins, 18 and 41, so a bit of a lower one from him. Fair enough. Yeah, first game back. Sexton did get the try assist at the back end there, so yeah, he was fine. I wonder what they do with Hutcho. That's the question. When Sexton came on, they kept Hutcho on, so that means that, you know, he's fairly important to them, but they also had a few injuries as well, didn't they? So yeah, there you go. We'll work that one out. Satilli, as I said, 13 in the full 80 minutes. It's disgusting. 17 run meters. Wow. We know who the more important one is, Angus Crichton. That's for sure. Stephen, 12. Wow. Two tackles, 4 misses. That's always good for a centre in moving to fullback. Patolo, 12 minutes, just that it. 12 minutes at the start, and then played the rest of the guys, so he's not their guy at the moment. Katoga as well, 10 in 21 minutes, so, and then Edwards, 10 minutes for him, so not good overall. And then Tedesco, 5 in 22. Man, that's tough. He's an interesting one. Like, he's been scoring so well, apart from the Panthers one. Is he a hold, considering how well he's been scoring, or do you sell him next week and maybe use him as a trade target for a Hines or something like that? That could be the option, considering you'll have Origin most likely. Not sure if he'll be out for multiple weeks with his concussion, but did sound like him and Walker were both okay walking around the sheds. And then Dom Young, -12. Dom, that's tough. He'll probably get a few weeks as well, so he'll be a sell. On that one, let's move to the secondary game. The man I wanted, Dylan Lucas. Once Frizzell went down, I was like, oh, this would be great. But then it sounds like it's only a 1 to 2 week thing with Frizzell. So, but yeah, you couldn't jump on Lucas just on that. But of course, he came out and absolutely dominated. He's so good at fantasy football. 72. Yeah. If anyone jumped on him, happy days. Speaking of anyone who jumped on him, Zach Lomax, he's had an incredible season, averaging 50 now with only that 1 or 2 low scores. He has 6 errors, though. That's just wild. But that flick pass, does that make up for 6 errors? I'm not sure. The offload flick pass was absolutely amazing to Ben Hunt, who picked up a try as well. He had a great score of 60, and then Ponga was 68 in this one. So look at the scores, man. I think there was like 350 tackles apiece. So yeah, it shows that there's plenty of that involved in there. I think Jacob Little had 53 tackles. Yeah, wild. And all the other guys like, Molo, 63 minutes for 38 tackles. DeBellin, 54 minutes for 42 tackles. So good scores across the park in this one. And only had the 1 score, which hasn't updated. So not sure what you guys think of this one, but Kaipi's Ball is on 47 in the NRL app. The exact scores that everyone else is in here, except for Kai, who for some reason they've updated on NRL app. But again, that's not in fantasy for us right now, which is all that matters. He's on 47 with a couple of tackle breaks, which is exactly minimum what he should get. 2 or 3 is my thoughts on that one. To have him at 0 is pretty ridiculous. So hopefully that does change up to that 47 that he is on the NRL app, which everyone else is the correct score on the NRL app. So yeah, but Ponga, man, too good. Man's too good. Kicking for basically more meters than, or definitely more meters than Hastings, 106, but almost than Cogger at 287. So he's absolutely involved in everything. He still had 4 errors and scored like this at 68. So he's a guy that has a pretty nice run coming up as well. And I think that he might be the guy I just need to get next week and go from there. So maybe holding a trade this week. Smithies could just be held. I think he's going to get some decent minutes this week coming up. So yeah, interesting times. Hunt we spoke about, Molo, DeBellin doing good, but keep waiting until he gets lower in price, which you probably won't now with a 56, but if he can get bigger minutes, then we'll talk about him. Luciano Leilua, 55, so he had a much better game down that side, looked really, really tough to tackle, and a good score from him. Tough one to kind of grab in your side, but yeah, probably all we need to say on Leilua right now. Leo Thompson, 54, kind of showing us a little bit more of what we saw in the preseason with that point a minute score. Did really well. Still not really, he's not an offloader or anything yet, so when that comes in, he'll be a good scorer. Little with 53 tackles, that was basically it. 53 points, good stuff for any owners. Cogger 52, Hastings 52, both getting involved in try assist and tries, and obviously good tackle numbers as well. One miss each in that one. So good scores there. Cogger becomes a little bit more interesting over the next few weeks now that he's had his low scores. He's lost a bit of price, but 5'10", still awkward. And then Nairo Tuala. So many players. I think it was 10 or a dozen players that hit 50 plus in this one. And well done. Anyone that jumped on Inari. He's done well, 34.5 on that left-hand side without, Marzu there. Right-hand side wasn't as strong. Left-hand side is where you want to be, that's for sure, because Jenkins is not getting any points, that's for sure. Sua, a couple of good runs. Elliott, 43, 53 minutes in this one. So he was doing well and then didn't come back on, I don't believe, after his 53-minute stint. Kaipis Ball we spoke about, base stats at the moment for him, has not got in any open pasture yet. So 47 is what it should be. If it's 41, whatever it ends up being, both, solid enough scores for what you paid for. I think he's still going to be that 50 guy. He'll have a game in the 60s soon and go from there. Eisenhuth 40, so he's still doing it. Gagai 37, a little bit of a low one for him with missed tackles. Didn't get to run the footy as much. Wait for a dry game and he'll be sweet. Jaden Brayley 36 and 61 minutes, so still will be going down in price. Good news is we're getting closer and closer to him being a buy. I think he'll be somewhere in the mid 40s, and if we can get him priced at like a 35 or something like that, that'll be cool. If we eventually need a hooker, or if Lussick stinks it up, which we hope he doesn't. Sloan 28, Ravalawa 27. Sloan just hold Sloaney at the moment. He's doing all right. We spoke about Sully already. Flanagan 23, got a little bump in the update, which was good. But one line break assist, 20 tackles, a turnover tackle, so a little bit of everything still for Flanagan. And after a couple of good scores, 23 brings him back down to earth a little bit, but still fine overall. And I think is likely to be a hold for one more week. Oh, we had Jack Bird in this one too with that. Hopefully he's okay, but that didn't look great. And I was feeling very, very sorry for Jack in that one with the knee injury. And our physio thought potentially, what do you say, patella dislocation or something else was like an MCL or something that was like a four weeker kind of thing with that knee digging into turf is the one. I think it's MCL, not sure exactly, but he said something like that is what he feared, and there was some chat that he was going to try and come back on, but not worth it. Get him fixed and hopefully get him back out there doing good things, because he's been scoring incredibly well. And Jenkins is going to go down, and Raymond Faitala Mariner 21, so he's not the big minute guy that some may have hoped for. Anyway, let's move to the Supercoach scores in the Dogs and the Roosters. It was a bit of a shocker overall with Dom Young going neg 14, so neg 12 in fantasy, 14 in Supercoach there. And then Sam Walker 3, Teddy 5, so pretty gross overall. Terrell May, I have obviously 22. Not nice. Hopefully he gets back to some decent minutes and scores next week. But we'll cop it, I suppose. Brandon Smith 45, who I did own back in the day. Crichton 79 becomes a bit more of an option next week. You've got Joey Manu, a great option as well at 101. Burton 137. Do you look at him? He's an interesting character, isn't he? Price of 524, going down 63k. Couple of big scores in there. 67 last week into a 137. So he's warming up into the season. Reid Marnie was the guy to hold. He's up 57k and now another big score there. So he's killing it. Good stuff. Anyone that started with him, it was definitely an option, that's for sure. And wouldn't have to do hooker roulette, which we've done a bit. Sam Hughes gets to 73. I won't be able to get his score, sadly, but is what it is. King, 70, 2 big scores in a row for him. Kickout as well. Curran, 54, so it continues to hit that early 50s number. Karaz, 35. I do think he's a worry in Supercoach as well. Hutcho, I had to start because I have Hines in my half position. So, hopefully he's my lowest of the week. because I do think that I'm likely going to be looping. So I have Ponga, which is great. He's my vice, 109. Hopefully he does go up a little bit. He doesn't have any offloads or anything to get him up further. But I do think with the way that this week's going, there's a little bit of rain around in Queensland as well. And we know that anything can happen in these type of weeks. So taking the 109 vice points is probably going to be pretty helpful. And like I'm dropping a Lussick or something like that who has been hitting 30s anyway. So he could end up being my lowest scorer. Tim, Strange, Burbo, I think, is likely where it's going to end up as my potential lowest scorers. So I do think that just locking in points on these crazy weekends is ideal. I have Holmes, obviously, as my captain, right? At the moment. He could go absolutely bonkers. And if he does, if he goes 130, 120, 110, whatever it is, right? It gets 100. I'm still going to be very pleased, right? It's not going to change too much because I don't have someone that's likely to get a 10 on my emergency. So yeah, that's where I'm at on that one. Kaipi's Paul 58, he'll go to about a 60 or something like that, 62. Good stuff on him. In that one, we'll take that at his, should bought him at a cheap price, at 345 a few weeks ago. Brayley, still low, obviously 34 in Supercoach, nothing special. Adam Elliott, 47, not ideal there at all in that mid-range. Lomax, the guy. So all of the CT dubs are crushing it, apart from Dom Young, which is sad. If you own him, that's the only thing that's sad. Because Lomax, Manu, Ponga, obviously fullback, but centre wings. Those two, couple killing it in the wet still, which was good. Ben Hunt, 61. Will that go up a little bit, or does he get a contribution? Try assist, only 61. That's tough. Surely that goes up a bit, but anyway. Lua, 67. Little, 60. Yep, if you grabbed him, sweet. Sully in here, so just a little comparison. Sully got 5 tackle breaks in Supercoach. So very different scoring systems, obviously. Flanagan, 26. Yeah, if you had to play him, not so ideal. But Eisenhuth, 45. That's probably it. Kind of solid across the board. No clear sells from the Dragons. So that's that one, guys. Thanks for tuning in to our Friday wrap. 3 games to go today. We've got to the Wars up against the Bunnies, Eagles, Panthers, Tommy Turbo. Can he do it in the wet? If it's going to be wet, hopefully it's a bit drier now. And then Dolphins up against the Tigers there in that one to round out the Saturday games, and then 2 tomorrow afternoon. Come on, we need a 2 p.m., 4 p.m. special. But thanks guys for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.